Hi, welcome to 5v4 Introduces, a brand new podcast aimed at showcasing the very best up-and-coming Twitch streamers. This week, for our very first guest, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome this guy.
I need help. Oh, yeah. Right on. Now the other one.
On me. I got her stuck. Nice, dude.
Smooth Operator, thank you so much for joining me, man. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the very first podcast.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I'm absolutely thrilled that you agreed. It's been something that I've been thinking of for a little while, and when I thought of who'd be the ideal person, I thought, right, this is the guy we need on. So if it's cool with you, we'll go through kind of a few questions, get your viewers to get behind the scenes, to know a bit about your background, stuff that you see kind of without the velvet jacket on, when you're everyday smooth. But one of the first things I really want to know is, where did the Smooth Operator concept come from?
Yeah, man, it's funny. So before the name even came about, I was thinking of that, like the first idea that I had was actually the jacket, which is kind of interesting. And I don't recall having an inspiration for it. I just thought, like, okay, what can like set me apart? Maybe like dressing differently. Mm-hmm. And for like some reason, a crushed velvet jacket came into my head. So it's like, and blue is one of my favorite colors, and it's a color that I look best in. so it's like, that was a really easy decision to go with, like, okay, blue velvet jacket. And then I started thinking of, being fresh and clean, and like clean and smooth, and having kind of like an aura about me. And that's kind of where all of that ended up blossoming kind of into the name Smooth Operator. But those ideas came before the name even. And so that's kind of where it came from.
Nice. And how much influence did Mrs. Smooth have over that? Did you kind of consult with her and get her thoughts?
You know what? It's interesting. I went like full in on this whole concept, really without her even knowing about it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's funny. And even really like building the PC as well. It was one of those things where I was doing some research, and then all of a sudden I was like, I just pulled the trigger. And we even had a little conversation about that after the fact, like, man, I probably should have talked to you a little bit about this before buying all this stuff to build a PC and time management and all this stuff. So yeah, that was kind of funny.
That's when you know you've got an understanding lady by your side.
Right. Yeah.
You can build a PC without her knowing, and she's still cool with it by the time you get there. Yeah. Golden.
So
I love it. What made you start streaming?
Oh man, really, the doc, as everybody knows him by, Dr. Disrespect. He was a huge influence. As I started watching more streams in general, his kind of big return, starting back on YouTube, I started watching him like almost every day on there, and just like the whole theatrics and like persona, like were a huge inspiration at the beginning. And then I started kind of looking at Twitch a little bit more and hopping on there more, seeing other people stream. And then I found out more of my friends were doing it. And man, when I came across some of my friends' streams, I was like, man, I think I could do this. Cause like, I feel like it's a lot of the same story. Like those of us who play video games a lot, it's like, it doesn't take too much effort to really get a camera, or even if you don't really have a camera, you can still stream stuff, and it's pretty easy for the most part. And you can pop on there and you're playing video games anyway, so you might as well stream it. And I kind of felt like I could do a really good job at it, seeing my other friends do it, and I was like, man, I could do this. Let's go. Let's bump up the value a little bit and just go from there and just really shoot off.
Yeah, like it's kind of, I see what you're doing, but I see how I can make it better.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
So has gaming always been a part of your life? What games did you play as a kid?
Yeah, for the most part. We started, the very first game I ever remember playing was King's Quest 6. And you're a little bit older than me, so you can kind of recall some of your, not by much, but we're in that same age, so I feel like you can probably have a little bit of appreciation for this. But we had an old, I think it was an HP, but it was an old HP in King's Quest 6. You had to install it with floppy disks on using MS Drive. You had to type in like the code in MS-DOS to install it. And I remember yeah, dude, oh my gosh. And I remember the catacombs in King's Quest 6, it was like the old mythological, like Minotaur in the catacombs. I remember that part specifically. So that's the first game I remember ever playing. But really, once we got into like the regular Nintendo, Super Mario, Metal Gear was a huge one for the regular Nintendo as well. And then when we got to regular PlayStation, the first gen PlayStation was still Metal Gear, but that's when I got into Final Fantasy VII. And that was a big one. That was a big one for me, Final Fantasy VII. A buddy that I went to school with, like, had the strategy guide, the little magazine that he let me borrow to like go through it. And it's crazy. I remember not being able to beat it when I was younger. And I re-downloaded it like a few years ago on PS4 when it was available. And it was just like so easy, right, to beat. It was like, you just patience and like leveling up. And I like got to the very last like boss fight, and it's, the cinema scene is going and you're going to the boss fight. And it dawned on me that I had never gotten to that point ever in the game. And I like beat it for the first time, like just a few years ago. So that was pretty cool. So those are a few games that kind of got me started.
Yeah, they were the game changers. I remember Final Fantasy VII, and it kind of,
oh man,
I mean, you say it was a big game for people, just in general it was a big game. Didn't it come on like 3 or 4 discs?
Yeah. Yep.
Never seen a game box that was like an inch thick. And and I remember playing it, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be all the way through. And I didn't get past disc 1, and I just gave up, and I never ever went back to it.
Yeah,
it's a really bad habit. So the first game that you mentioned, so what platform was that on?
The King's Quest.
Yeah.
So that was on PC.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was like, I think it was an old Hewlett Packard, like back in the, I don't know, 97 or something. I don't know what it was, but yeah. Floppy disks and all, man.
I remember games on a cassette.
Oh wow, yeah, that's crazy. Really I love it. Yeah,
you put the cassette in, and you'd literally be sat there waiting for hours and hours while this cassette went all the way through the loading phase. Yeah, it wasn't installing; it was just to play the game. And then if it crashed at the end, it was soul destroying. It was awful. So now we've got Smooth Operator, so Apex streamer primarily, or is that the plan, or is it kind of going to a more variety?
We'll see. I would initially consider to be a variety streamer, and initially, as I've gotten more into Apex, initially that was just to really learn mouse and keys.
Yeah.
Because I was coming from PlayStation, and I had been playing a little bit on Apex already on controller, and I wanted to learn something on mouse and keys, at least since I was on PC, kind of do like, traditional mouse and keys player. And I thought, well, that's a good BR. It's fun. I'd spent a while, playing Warzone when I first got my PC, playing with my brother a lot. And I don't know, we just got to a point in Warzone, and anybody who knows the grind on Warzone is like, okay, like we need to move on to something different.
Mhm.
And Apex was that game at the time. So I mean, it's been Apex because I've really enjoyed as I've continued to learn mouse and keys and play mouse and keys. That's been a lot of fun. So that's definitely one that I will keep grinding on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever be, one of those guys that can get, diamond or platinum or whatever in the ranked stuff. Those guys are nuts.
Insane. Yeah.
Plus I really, especially coming from like that Final Fantasy VII, that really strong, campaign, like story based. I really do enjoy playing those single player, story based they're really intricate kind of games. So obviously I'm sticking with Batman because that's huge. I love wearing the mask on stream. I mean, that's just that's awesome. And yeah, I'd like to eventually replay God of War because I beat that on PlayStation. I had gotten that and beaten that right before I got the PC. So, and that's just an incredible game. And there are just so many other amazing campaign style games out there that are just too good not to play.
Yeah.
So
The standard's getting so much higher.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So finishing up with a little bit of Apex before we go into kind of some of the other bits and bobs. I have to ask, where did the dub dance come from?
Oh,
I'm
man.
sure you get asked this all the time.
Not really. I actually think you're the first one to like really ask me like where it came from, like where it stems from. So like, I kind of was toying around with doing like, or incorporating dancing in some way. Cause like, I just, I love to get down like wedding receptions or just where it's at. I wish I could do the wobble on stream, but, obviously DMCA, all that stuff. But, so the music that I use, I found on, artlist.io. It's like a huge online, it's like artists can get on there and upload their music and whatever. And it's like subscription based. So you pay for a subscription and you can go through and all the music and stuff and grab music that you want. And it's all licensed. So like everything that you hear on the stream is from Artlist. And I was just poking around there one day and like getting, the smooth jazz stuff for the stream. And I came upon, and this was the first dub dance song. And I came across that song and I was listening to it and I was just like, oh man, I was like, I need to incorporate this in some way. And I actually added it and created a scene in OBS for some kind of dance for winning. And I was like, oh man, dub dance, like that's got a nice ring to it. And I put it in there with like no intention to use it. I mean, like it was like, I don't know if I want to use this. Like this is really, it takes a little bit of confidence. And the first time I did it, I was really nervous to do it because I think it was in Warzone that I won one game. And I was like, crap. It's like I won and I have this scene all set up. I was like, I guess I'll do it. And I've like gone back and looked at the clip and I'm like, you can tell I'm not as excited as I am now after a little bit of time and, doing it. But that's kind of where it came from. Like I just came across that song and it was like, man, this song is awesome. I need to incorporate this in some way. So it just kind of went from there after finding the song.
Brilliant. Have you always been like into dancing, or does it just come naturally? Because like I dance like a dad. Like I can't dance full stop. But you've got some moves, man.
So yeah, well, it's a lot of it's a lot of training. No, I come from a very like musical background. So growing up, I was I did like all the musicals. I was in choir and show choir, musicals, drama plays, all that stuff growing up through high school. So that, like, you know, that foundation is there. And I would say I get it from my dad for sure. The raw talent at least, but
Mm.
I would definitely, like, before like homecomings and proms and stuff in high school, like I would rehearse a little bit. So I would know that I got something in the back pocket if I need it, you know, when Usher, yeah, comes on and we gotta break it down or something. So yeah, man.
Oh man, that is
Yeah.
amazing. Absolutely amazing. Um, it's funny you mentioned having like the musical background because obviously we follow each other on Instagram, and I noticed there was a post of you and Mrs. Smooth
Yeah.
singing at a friend's wedding.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You guys are good, man.
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah. 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 We both come from, you know, heavy musical backgrounds. I mean, Mrs. Smooth, she's got, her voice is like 10 times better than mine. She can rock it. Uh, we've both had, you know, through college, we've had several years of like vocal training. So that's where some of that comes from, a little bit. So yeah, we got a little background there for both of us. So it's pretty cool to get to sing together.
So do you guys like go out to karaoke bars and just show everybody up?
Oh man, we need to. We haven't done that yet.
If I could sing, I'd be
And
there all the time.
man, oh my gosh. I live in the Cincinnati, Ohio area now. I used to live up in Dayton, which is like an hour north of Cincinnati. And me and my buddies used to go to this karaoke bar several times a week and really tear it up. All three of us could sing really well, so we used to tear it up. The main DJ that did it, I mean, we were going there so often that he would know our songs and know our names, so he would know to cue it up. So if that tells you anything,
That's when you know you're a regular.
yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah.
Amazing. So, so you grew up in Dayton, you said, Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
So what were your interests as a kid? Was it music, or were you sports as a kid? Like, what was your main thing?
Oh man. Like all of the above for sure. A funny story that my parents like to tell is when I was younger, especially over Christmas, I had one of those like toy microphones where you could like carry the little boom box and it was connected and you like hold it and it like had the echo effect or whatever, like a microphone. And I would sing Garth Brooks, and
Nice.
like he was a big big influence in our little family. A lot of those like country stars at the time, like Garth Brooks and Tim McGraw and Alan Jackson, you know, those kind of guys. So music was definitely always there, but so were sports. Like my whole family, I'm one of four, so I have three older siblings. I'm the youngest. Yeah, we all played sports, so that was huge. For me, it was soccer. So we played since I was probably like 5 or 6. You know, all the way up like through high school. And I didn't play in college, but I played a lot of intramural, you know, and rec in college. So, but yeah, there's definitely all of the above. So like on top of all that musical stuff in high school, I was doing soccer in the fall and tennis in the spring. So high school was busy for sure.
Busy guy. So what position did you play in soccer?
Yeah, I was a stopper. So I was a center defender, not the center fullback, but
yeah, the big destroyer.
Step up, I guess. Yeah, that's right.
Nice. That's where I used to play before I got lazy and then ended up in goal. And I've stayed there since. There's way less running.
Yeah.
So now, present day, you've got some pretty big changes due. You're going to be a girl dad. How are you feeling?
Yeah, that's right. I'm feeling good. I feel like nerves haven't set in quite yet. Really just, we're still trying to prepare the house for everything. We're really slacking on getting our hospital bags packed and stuff just in preparation. Because it's like T-minus 2 months. Like we're getting down to it. Like we need to get some stuff prepared. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like I don't know. It hasn't set in quite yet. I think it's going to come rushing in like really hard here probably within the next couple of weeks. And obviously when we bring home, you know, a third person from the hospital to our house and we're not going to be alone anymore, like that's going to hit different for sure.
What are you
Yeah.
most looking forward to about being a dad?
Oh man. I've actually met. I talked about this with Miss Smooth before, but like knowing how weird I was like as a kid, and just like how my imagination like ran. So, like I had a realization one day of just like as a dad and as an adult, like witnessing a child's creativity and like an imagination, I think is gonna blow my mind. Because like I have nieces and nephews, so you get to see a little bit of that, but at the same time, they're, you know, it's not your kid, so there's a little bit of difference there, a little bit of disconnect there. So knowing it's your kid, it came from you, like knowing how you were as a kid, um, I'm super excited. And we're both weird now, so we know that we're gonna have a weird kid. Like she's gonna be goofy, she's gonna be weird. That's something that we're both looking forward to, you know. So it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I'm the same. My little girl is completely off the wall, and it's just letting them know that being weird, there's nothing wrong with being weird. Like, do your thing. If you, as long as you're happy and it doesn't hurt anybody, be you. It's different. Like, weird's definitely a good thing. And how's Mrs. Smooth? Is she ready for Baby Smooth to be out now?
I think so, or at least she's getting there. She's the big thing with her throughout the whole thing has just been like back pain in general, and just kind of trying to deal with that from day to day, and sitting or laying in different positions, like sleeping at night is starting to get a little more difficult for her. So trying to stay comfortable is definitely a challenge there for her. And I think we're just both really anxious to see her, you know, and to hold her, and for her to just kind of like be out in the world, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then hopefully when the world goes back to normal, show her off as much as you possibly can.
That's right. Yeah.
And you know, little girls love their dads as well.
Yeah. She's, I mean, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I already know.
She's gonna be you'll be wrapped around a little finger before you know it, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I'd like to end with is just a few little quick fire questions. So literally just a case of you just pick either or, really. Okay. So we'll start with the first one. Nice and easy. Cat or dog?
I got to go cat, actually, with this one, which I would have never, before we got our cat, I would have said dog. But now having a cat, it's turned me into a cat person.
Nice.
Yep.
Phone call or text?
Text.
Facebook or Twitter?
Ooh, Twitter. Yeah.
Bath or a shower?
Shower.
Money or free time?
What was it again? Money or what?
Money or free time?
Ooh, free time.
All right. This is really important. So toilet paper, over or under?
Over. Over. Yes, absolutely.
TV shows or movies?
Oh, movies. Yeah. Gotta go with movies.
Honesty or others' feelings?
That's a tough one, but I gotta say honesty.
Yeah, you just got to judge it right. Like the whole, does my bum look big in this? Like, no. The answer is always no.
Yeah.
And last one, what's worst? Oh, no, actually, second last one. What's worst, laundry or dishes?
Ooh, I don't mind doing dishes, so I have to go with laundry.
And if you could only do one, would you sing or dance?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I would pick dance, I guess, between the two.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I guess, so one final question from me. So you always talk about, and Mr. Smooth backs this up, about smelling great. So what is Smooth Operator's cologne of choice?
Oh, you know what? I'm very excited. So I'm actually going through like a subscription service right now.
Mhm.
It's called Scentbird, and this isn't a plug. This wasn't set up, by the way.
No.
It definitely sounds like it is, but it's not. But you get on their website. You can go through questions. You get basically like a scent profile, and then it like suggests colognes, and it sends you like a little tiny flask or bottle, and essentially it lasts you about a month, and they send you a new one. You can queue up the next one each month. And I forget what the one is called right now that I'm using, but so far the last couple I've really liked. So I don't know, it's just something different to try different colognes and whatnot. So I'm going through that kind of monthly thing. But I will say my favorite cologne is Armani Code.
Nice.
So I usually have a bottle of that around for special occasions or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of like that's right. That's like the favorite or go to in between those switches with that subscription thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah,
amazing. Man. Smooth Operator, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah,
this was fun. This was fun, man. I think this is a great idea, and I'm excited to see who else you have on. I'm looking forward to that Wes podcast, because I think that one's going to be ridiculous. I feel like, yeah.
I think we might need subtitles for that one.
That's probably a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me again, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, man. And there we have it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed that, if you're on YouTube, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know in the comments who you want to see next. Take care, guys, and I will see you over on Twitch.